Hello everyone, welcome to Tea and Banter with me. It's me, Mary Elizabeth. Hope you're all doing well today. So today's video is a TBR slash SAS video, series about series, if you're not familiar with that term. I decided to tackle both because I think, like most readers, who love books and love to keep books, whether it's just to collect them, whether it's because of covers, or whether it's because you plan on rereading them, which is a big one of mine. So because of that, you end up with a lot of books on your shelves that you haven't read, even though your plan was to get to them, was to read them. So on my phone currently, I probably have 100 books that I want to get. So what I decided to do was I really need to start having a TBR that tackles both my SAS as well as the first books on my bookshelves that I haven't read, to decide whether they are keepers or whether I need to unhaul them, or whether I'm going to continue to collect more. So with that said, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for my September TBR. This might be a bigger undertaking and I might not get to all of them, but it definitely is going to be my goal, along with my next book in my BBB, which I don't know what that is yet until we do our review of Frankenstein at the end of the month. So if you're interested in that, please make sure you subscribe and like the video, and then come back so you can see that one. So I'm going to start with a tea shop mystery. It's called Death by Darjeeling by Laura Childs. This is the first book in the series, and I believe there's 27, I think, in the series. So I'm just going to give you the summaries in the back because, again, these are the first books, and I have not read them yet. Most of them I have not read the first one. So it's tea for 200 or so at the annual historic Holmes garden party, and Theodosia, an event caterer, is busy serving steaming tea and blackberry scones while guests sing her praises. I've never had a blackberry scone. That sounds good. But the sweet smell of success turns to suspense when an esteemed guest is found dead, his hand clutching an empty teacup. All eyes are on Theo, who is now trying desperately to save her reputation and track down the real killer. If only she could make sense of it all before someone else takes their last sip. And so here's the cover. Oh, that's a little bright. So again, this sounds, and it includes a delicious recipe. So whether that's scones or tea, I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to seeing that. And again, this is the first book in the series. It is on my SAS as well as on my bookshelf. And this will help me determine if I'm going to continue with this series or unhaul it. And then I can reduce my SAS list or increase it, depending. So that's that one. The next one is a Victorian mystery, The Inspector and Mrs. Jeffries, by Emily Brightwell. I do know there are quite a few of these books in the series. I don't know the exact number. She keeps house for Inspector Witherspoon and keeps him on his toes. Everyone is astonished by the Inspector Scotland Yard successes, but they don't know about his secret weapon. In fact, even he doesn't know about his secret weapon, because she's as ladylike as she is clever, no matter how messy the murder or how dirty the deed. Mrs. Jeffries' polished detection skills are up for the task, proving that behind every great man there's a woman, and that a crime-solving work is never done. So I have a feeling this will definitely be a keeper. Excuse me. Just because I love the idea of really the housekeeper being the brains behind the inspector. I just think, and I think this might be a little bit of a comedy, so I'm looking forward to that, as well as I like England Victorian era. Hopefully there's some information referring back to that time, so I look forward to that. Again, there are a lot in the series. I don't have the exact number, but we shall see. Excuse me, I just need to pour a little more tea. So I don't know if you want to leave down in the comments how you're doing with your SAS list and all the books on your bookshelf that you haven't read yet, but are there just waiting for you. Tell me how you're doing with that, if you've made progress this year or it's not something you tackled. I'm hoping, I know this is a late start, so I'm hoping to focus the rest of this year on doing that and then seeing where I'm at, because I know that, again, there'll be a lot more books I will be purchasing. The next book is A Quiet Life in the Country, and this is similar in a sense. The housemaid is involved, but it's more of a team. It's called The Lady Hardcastle Mystery by T.E. Kinsey. Lady Emily Hardcastle is an eccentric widow with a secret past. Florence Armstrong, her maid and confidant, is an expert in martial arts. The year is 1908, and they've just moved from London to the country, hoping for a quieter life. But it is not long before Lady Hardcastle is forced out of her self-imposed retirement. There's a dead body in the woods, and the police are on the wrong scent. Lady Hardcastle makes some inquiries of her own, and it seems she knows a surprising amount about crime investigation. As Lady Hardcastle and Flo delve deeper into rural rivalries and resentment, they uncover a web of intrigue that extends far beyond the village. With almost no one free from suspicion, they can be certain of only one fact: there is no such thing as a quiet life in the country. So that is this book, and this has quite a few too. I don't think as many as the Mrs. Jeffries, but again, another one I'm really looking forward to. This next one sounds funny, and before I show you this one and talk about its theme and all of that, so when I was younger, I wanted to be an author. That did not happen, obviously. I don't have that imagination, unfortunately. I wish I did, to come up with some of these stories and characters. And then as I got older, even, I think it was 2 years ago, I was talking to my children and I said, you know, my dream would be to have a tea room, you know, a bookstore, but like a combo. So I love to crochet, so having yarn for sale and crochet area for classes and whatever, but then also have books. There's a lot of crochet murder mysteries on there, you know, and the tea area with the cafe having, you know, like Laura Child's Death by Darjeeling, those kinds of series and books, you know, so you'd have different areas with themes, and then have the books in those areas that you could purchase. So needless to say, I haven't done that. I wish I could, but not realizing I picked up this book, and it is a first in the series like all the others, and it's called A Love is Murder Mystery. And it's called Death of a Red Hot Rancher by Mimi Granger. And I'm going to read you the back. Lizzie Hale may be the lucky owner of a successful romance bookstore. love under the covers. But she's decidedly unlucky in love, though she's read almost every famous romance novelist, from Jane Austen to Nora Roberts. Not one has helped her figure out how to get and keep a man. But Lizzie has bigger problems to worry about, like murder. When swoon-worthy rich owner and resident bachelor Brodie Pierce is found stabbed through the chest, hearts are heard breaking all over Tinker's Creek. But when Lizzie's aunt is implicated in the murder, Lizzie is determined to clear her name. She quickly realizes that Brodie was a hunk with many hidden secrets, and she's soon leafing through a stack of suspects longer than Brodie's list of lovers. With the killer still in the loose, Lizzie will have to find the truth before this act of passion ignites a fire she can't put out. And so this romance bookstore has themed rooms in there. So I'm not sure if there's tea in there, but say minus the tea, it's almost on the same thinking wavelength, sorry, can't talk today, as me, in terms of thinking what a cool way to have a bookstore. So it's just not maybe some seats and some books, but some themed areas where some other things can happen, whether again it's an activity or it's having tea and having a book discussion or finding that new book. So anyway, so I do look forward to giving this one a try. Again, this is the first in the series. I don't think another one has come out yet, but again, it would be on my SAS list if I like it, so I need to find that out. The next book is The Three Dahlias. It wouldn't be a country house weekend without a little murder, and this is by Katy Watson. Let's see. In attendance at the Aldermere, the VIP fans staying at the house, the fan club president turned convention organizer, the team behind the newest movie adaptation of Davenport's books, the Davenport family themselves, and the three actresses famous for portraying Delilah Lovely through the decades. There is the national treasure, Rosalind King, from the original movies, who's feeling sensitive that she's past her prime. TV Delilah for 13 years, Caro Hooper, who believes she really is Delilah Lively, and ex-child star Posey Starling, fresh out of the fame wilderness in rehab, to take on the Delilah mantle for the new movie, but feeling outclassed by her predecessors. Each actress has her own interpretation of the character and her own secrets to hide. But this English summer weekend, they will have to put aside their differences as the crimes at Aldermere turn anything but cozy. When fictional death turns into real bodies, can the three Delilahs find the answers to the murder among the fans, the film crew, and the family, or even in Lettuce's books themselves? So I am really looking forward to this one. It sounds like it's going to be a hoot. We'll see what happens. I do know there is definitely one more book out. It is called actually A Very Lively Murder. So again, this will be a series or a trilogy, I'm not sure. So it would be on the SAS list, and again, I either want to keep, reduce, we'll see. The next one has, which I do have that written down, has 26 books, and I have a feeling that this is going to be a no-brainer. So this is the first Gaslight mystery. It is Victoria Thompson, Murder on Astor Place. After routine delivery, Sarah visits her patient in a rooming house and discovers that another boarder, a young girl, has been killed. At the request of Sergeant Frank Mallory, she searches the girl's room. She discovers that the victim is from one of the most prominent families in New York and the sister of an old friend. The powerful family, fearful of scandal, refuses to permit an investigation. But with Malloy's help, sorry, it wasn't Mallory, it was Malloy's, I apologize for that. Sarah begins a dangerous quest to bring the killer to justice before death claims another victim. So this just, I don't know. I have a feeling this is going to definitely be a keeper in my series. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the last book on my SAS list, and I was tempted to save this for October, to be like a little more Halloween-y, but I'm not doing that. I'm gonna try to plow forward because I may not get to all of them anyway, and this could easily be moved over into October if I can't get through all of these. Again, I still have to finish Frankenstein, and yeah, and so my life is kind of busy. I don't always achieve everything I would like to read. But with that said, there is 33 books in this series. So I have a tendency, I think, to pick books that have a lot in their series, unfortunately, so, or fortunately, depending. So this one is called Haunting Danielle, The Ghost of Marlow House by Bobbie Holmes. And let's see what the back says. When Danielle Boatman inherits Marlow House, she dreams of turning it into a seaside bed and breakfast. Since she's never visited the property, Danielle's not sure what awaits her in Oregon. She certainly doesn't expect to find one of the house's previous owners still in residence. After all, the man has been dead for almost 90 years. Shouldn't he have moved on by now? Charming Walt Marlow convinces Danielle the only way he can move on is if she solves the mystery of his death. Danielle soon discovers her real problem may come from the living, those who have their sights on Marlow House's other secrets. I just think this sounds charming. And I don't know, I really love the covers in this series. I just love this image, this haunted house. So looking forward to this one. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that I either will need more bookshelves or I've made room for new books. I'm not so confident I've made room for new books, but we will see. So please leave in the comments if any of these books you have read and what you think of them, if any of them have piqued your interest to try, and I will give you an update as we go along, and let's see what happens. Until next time, friends, I hope that you are all safe, and I hope you are all loved, and keep your fingers and your toes crossed and your eyes crossed and your legs crossed that I can make it through these in time, because I definitely have even bigger piles of books to start determining what I'm doing, because it just seems like I keep finding more and more books that I want to read, and I know this is everyone's problem, that they have just more and more great books come and less room, and I know, well, I was going to end the video, but I'm not, so stay with me. I know that at least I have the struggle. I've always also wanted a library. Where I live, I don't really have that luxury to have a library, but I keep trying to figure out a way to have a small library, craft area, whatever. And then I love books, and I love the idea of books being decor as well. So having books in every room is not a bad thing. It actually probably would be wonderful. But my problem is I always want my books right with me. I don't know if anyone else has that problem, but the idea of having my books in other rooms. When I go into those other rooms, I'm happy they're there and happy to see them. But when I'm in my space, I want all my books there. And so I keep struggling with what's the best way to do that. And I have so many favorite books, so many great books. So I don't know, I guess maybe if I figure out, I have been putting my cookbooks in my kitchen area. So I have started to do that, which isn't too bad. But part of that is because in a previous video, I showed you I'm kind of making my own cookbook with the recipes that, you know, are favorites. And so I'm transferring into there so that my own cookbook has all my favorites and I can just go to that book to look at, but that is a work in progress. So I don't think that that bothers me as much because I'm working out of it. Whereas others, you know, not so much. They would be in their different rooms, but not in visual sight. So that's a struggle I have, is visually wanting to see them all the time. Let me know if you have that problem, or if you are okay having them in other rooms. And if you are, share how you display them. Do you have different ways that you put your books out? I always worry too that someone's not going to love them in the house like I do and not be careful or take care of them. You know, if I left them on a table or something like that as decor, but something gets built on them, you know, whatever. So let me know what your thoughts are. I'd love to have your opinions and suggestions. Could be helpful. And so, yeah, until next time, for real here, I hope that you are all safe and I hope you're all loved, and I will see you next time. Bye.